I am weird. I literally address content warning before we begin. Preface. So there are gonna be some sensitive topics like human experimentation, violence, and things that people aren't really comfortable with, and might be a key figure or two that people don't like to hear about or talk about because things like genocide and stuff. But yeah. So without ado, welcome to Join the Raid podcast. And tonight we'll be diving into some wild what the fuck moments in world history that aren't commonly known. So tonight we have myself, Terry, and we have Mr. Savage.
Hello.
So before we begin, chat, if you have anything to say, comment, say anything like that, just fucking do it. I'm here for it. I love going back and forth. I love talking. So yeah. Mr. Savage.
Yes, sir.
So what sparked this idea for this episode was you bringing up the dancing plague.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on the list. It's on the list somewhere. And we put them in. I put them in a different order.
Okay.
Just to figure out, what's the biggest what the fuck moment,
Okay.
So number 1, Time magazine named Hitler Man of the Year in 1938. He was selected for his global influence despite his infamous actions. So yeah. How did you know that?
I do remember that somewhat. I couldn't remember if it was during his regime or it was just before, because he was in World War I too. If people didn't know that, he was a World War I medic, and then after that, I don't know how he went from being a medic to becoming a dictator. But there's that gap I don't know much about. But I figured it was somewhere in that between moment, just before he became the dictator, that he was man of put on the magazine for that. So that's interesting.
So the details in this. Time's award wasn't an endorsement, but a recognition of the person who most shaped world events, for better or worse. By 1938, Hitler annexed Austria was pushing anti-Semitic policies and was gearing up for war. The choice shocked many readers even then, and it still remains one of the most controversial decisions in the magazine's history today.
Okay, so they base off their selection on people for better or worse. So people that have made an influence on the world, regardless if it's good or negative or positive.
I'm pretty sure they don't do that anymore on the negative side, because I think that kind of blew up in their face for a while.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's a question. How could a major publication make such a call? And do you think it was a misstep or, grim reflection of the era's, fascination with power?
Mm-hmm. So it is interesting to think about, because it's like today, when we look at things, is way different than how they looked at things back then. So through the lens of their time frame, it probably seemed like an okay thing to do back then. And then obviously later on, people were like, "What were you thinking?" Because obviously, as the world realized what was going on, that's probably when they were like, "Okay, this is a bad thing that you put them in the magazine." Whereas today, obviously, we would learn much sooner what this person's doing, and obviously we would crucify the person, not try to give them more publicity, more of the light, basically like a kind of like a positive thing, so more attention. And a lot of the times too, people an example of that is serial killers. Oftentimes they love to have attention drawn to them, the thrill of not being caught but almost being caught, being chased, and they like to be fantasized about, or just be put in the spotlight essentially.
Yeah, but not all serial killers are doing it for the rush of that.
Not all of them, but some.
Because the ones that want the infamy, the fame, the attention, things like that, they make themselves known in some way, shape, or form across the board because they want that. But there's other ones that literally just do it themselves. They have this, I want to say itch. I'll say itch because I don't have a better word for it right now. Itch for it that makes it undeniable. They can't not do it, and they have to satisfy this urge to do this one thing, whether it's massacring a family, or ritualistic sacrifices, things like that, where they keep going and going and going. Nobody catches them until later on in life, and there's a good number of them that are cold cases still.
No, yeah. Then Jack the Ripper from London, and then you got a few other ones that are still what was that? What was the plain one? He's not a serial killer, but he was am I drawing a blank at one? He's still an unsolved mystery for FBI. Can't remember, but people like that, they kind of do their thing that they want to do and then leave and not really try to stay in the spotlight. But then you have other ones that do. They'll taunt the police. I
Yeah,
just murdered another person. Now what are you going to do? Here's a clue. They kind of like tease them. I can't remember which one that was. It was a person that specifically did that.
I can't remember exactly. I think the one that sticks out in my head the most is like Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac Killer, yep. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But either way, it's like it depends on the person itself. Not every, like you said, not everyone is the same thought process. People, all of them are messed up in the head some way or another, but they have a different mindset as to how they act and what they want to do.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right. On to number two. We're going to talk about the U.S. for a second. Again, the U.S. conducted radiation experiments on its own citizens. So from the 1940s to 1970s, the U.S. government secretly exposed hundreds of Americans, including pregnant women and children, to radiation and experiments without their consent. Yeah. So projects like the Manhattan Project and Cold War research led to studies where people were injected with plutonium or exposed to radiation to study its effects. For example, in 1940s, 18 terminally ill patients were injected with plutonium without their knowledge to track how it spread in the body. Some experiments targeted vulnerable groups like low-income communities or institutionalized children. Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's like the inspiration for The Hills Have Eyes, because that's like a heavily like radioactive like
Yeah.
monstrosities, and then the movie goes into that kind of background.
Yep. There's a book called Mein Kampf by Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, Savage, what ethical lines do you think were crossed? How did the government justify these experiments? And are there echoes of this in modern science today?
I mean, honestly, it just you're just breaching their. You're as a government, you're there to protect the people, not experiment on the people. That we're not guinea pigs for the government at their own disposal. We're supposed to be there for protection. Well, the government's supposed to be there to protect you, and that's it. To defend your amendments, your rights. That's it. Run the country, all those basic things, but not experiment on you with things that they already knew that was really bad for the human body, but they wanted to see how bad it can get, essentially. So it's obviously just morally just wrong.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but from my perspective, like if you look at the morally gray, you need to know how it's going to affect, because if it's not going to actually, let's say, fuck them up for 100%, then why drop the nukes in the first place? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things of they needed to know, and nobody's going to volunteer for that. Let's be honest. So they did what they needed to do and took it had in their own hands and said, "We're going to do it this way, and nobody's going to find out about it." But everybody found out about it anyways.
Now, if they wanted to, they could have just taken murderers out of prison
Could have.
and then used them as the experiment. People that were behind bars for life. So instead of you wasting tax dollars to feed them and bathe them and all that, and they're just going to be sentenced to death anyways, so might as well, or certain ones would be. So then that could be the alternative for that.
Might as well do some good with them already before they're on death row in the first place. They're going to get killed off. So they're like, why don't we just test them to make sure?
Yeah. So
yeah. But it's also studying the effects of how does this affect other people besides mostly men. Obviously, are in prison for murder, especially at that time. So how do you make sure everyone's affected? That it's going to be like biggest bang for your buck. I know it's poor wording, but it's just how I see things. So yeah, so I get it from a morally gray area. From an ethical standpoint, I say it's fucked up, 100%. But it's a different time. Do I still think there's things like that going on today? Of course there are, because there are certain things that lead to black sites and everything like that. And yeah, and that's my roommate again. But yeah, we look at it as we got to figure out how more things work and how things affect everybody, because especially general populace thing. If the general populace goes, we have to deal with a virus, something like that. Like they still do it when their medical studies in general. They give half the group placebo, half the group the real thing, see how they affect them, and they compare them, and nobody knows what's what. Like who to tell you that stuff is actually helpful or beneficial to your symptoms that you have when you do these medical studies and trials. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a huge example of that is COVID, to be honest. I would say that was probably used as an experiment on people. It was.
Oh yeah, it's a big mental mind fuck. It's a fucking psyop from hell if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, how do you control a whole fucking country to stop what they're doing normally, stay home,
Mm-hmm.
learn to distance yourself from people, and only rely on technology and the internet to get everything done?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, I don't know if people know this, but just before COVID hit, China had a major uprising amongst their people. Huge uprising was about to spark, like almost like a civil war is about to go off because the people didn't like what the country was doing or the government, and so they that months just before that, and then before COVID hit, that was happening, and then you know we don't know the exact details and why it was actually released, but that's we're never going to figure that out. No one's going to come out and just say it, so it's all speculation at this point, but it's a highly possible that it was the case.
Yeah, I agree with that. But again, like I said, COVID, big psyop in my opinion, because it got people to do things they normally wouldn't do. Take a
Mm-hmm.
vaccine that nobody told them if it was going to be like how high a percentage was it actually going to work. But we saw the commercials, we saw all the stances of you can't come here if you don't have your COVID vaccination card. And that kind of spelled it out for me right there. I was like, I'm not getting it.
No, I did. I seen the signs and I seen what was happening to people with it. I knew my body can handle it if I ever did get it, but to be honest, I think I'm one of the rare few that's it's not the word is immune to it, but I'm a carrier, but I don't show the symptoms of it. I don't get sick from it. I don't get aches or body aches or pain or whatever, loss of sense of smell or all those kind of things. I've been around so many people that had COVID, should have gotten it, never got it. So I'm lucky, I guess, in that sense. But there's a lot of other people that are not so lucky. I think it was just one giant experiment to see how people react as a whole, and pretty much showed that people panic when they don't the unknown. People just freak out.
I get that. Yeah, I get that a lot. But it showed how dependent people were on the government too, and that's the thing
Yeah.
that bothered me. Is like you can't make these choices by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't dictate what's better for you and your family, like things like that. Like we look at it from an active duty standpoint, they told them like, "Oh, you're gonna get the vaccine or you're getting the fuck out of the military."
Yeah, that's wild.
And now I think it was 6 months ago they sent out letters 6 months ago saying, "Sorry, we kicked you out because of this. Will you come back?"
Mm.
And almost everyone I know, they're like, "Fuck that! I'm fucking free."
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so it's one of those things that just bothered me, fucking dealing with that COVID bullshit. But it is what it is. So number three, the Great Smog of London killed thousands in days. In December 1952, a thick smog blanketed London for 5 days, killing an estimated 12,000 people and sickening 150,000 others. The cause was by coal smoke and weather conditions. The smog was so dense that visibility dropped to a few feet and people choked on toxic air. Hospitals overflowed and undertakers ran out of coffins. The government initially downplayed the crisis, but it later spurred the Clean Air Act. Yeah. So things like the EPA that I don't agree with all of it, but they have good points of, air quality and everything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a great thing that the Clean Air Act came to be. I'm a little frustrated with certain standards of the EPA. Like I used to own a diesel truck,
Okay.
so I don't know if you know the phrase "roll coal" or anything like that. It's black coal smoke. So they said it had to dissipate within like 3 or 5 seconds.
Mm.
EPA's even backed this claim saying that it's not harmful. It's water vapor,
Yeah.
but because of the way it looks, they take it as just a negative.
Yeah.
So it
But
annoyed me a lot.
yeah, they're trying to get rid of diesels anyways too. At least in my state, I know they're trying to just get rid of diesels entirely.
Well, they are.
Canada's getting rid of all of them. I was like, oh, good luck.
And I don't see why, because they're making gasoline.
Yeah.
Diesel's a byproduct of making gas.
Yeah.
So it's basically free, and it's more money for whoever corporation who has it if they keep pushing out diesels, because it's something that's free. It's a free resource. It's a byproduct of making what your main resource is. So
Yeah.
why not keep doing it?
It's all for the EV stuff, which is failing horribly, but that's what they're going for a lot of the
That
times.
EV shit, man, is trash because nobody thinks about the precedence of it because they don't think about what happens with these batteries after you replace them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they have battery recycling stuff like that, but on a massive scale what they're going to need to as much as they're pushing these vehicles out. Landfills are kind of already full, man.
And
So,
just to produce these things costs,
oh
fuel,
yeah,
gasoline, and diesel kind of stuff. So you're using that stuff anyway. So it's kind of just going back on everything. Also, the grid itself can't handle all that electricity needed just to produce, to be able to drive the vehicles and such. We can't
yep.
withstand it.
And especially here in the U.S., we have one of the weakest electrical grids there is,
Oh yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's one of those things I don't understand because literally, I know it's going to talk more military jargon, but like China has some of the top tier hackers across the board. If they really wanted to cripple us, just take out the energy grid. They don't have to do anything else, and we would literally self implode.
Yeah, it's literally key points around the country. East Coast, West Coast, somewhere in the central, and then after that, it's just bye bye. The whole
Exactly,
system falls apart.
exactly. But I say learn to live without it a little bit, which sounds hypocritical because I use it. I'm using it right fucking now. But it's one of those things of if you can't live without it, then I get it as a necessity. But people for years live without certain tools or caveats like AC, things like that. It's going to be a
Yeah.
little miserable at first, honestly. Like think of the pioneers,
Mm-hmm.
But we're here now, so I always tell people like you need to go outside a little bit, go get away from that for a minute.
Or death be outside every day. I'll be playing
Yeah,
baseball.
great. Uh, so, how do you think society ignored such a deadly environmental disaster for so long? Could this happen again in today's world, from your opinion?
It could. People, like bring up COVID again. They're showing the signs of why taking vaccines was such a bad thing. Time and time again, they're showing alternative means, but they're like, nope. The government says do this. So I'm staying with this. A lot of times, people don't think for themselves and they panic, and so either they don't do the research, or they don't know what to do, so they just kind of freeze in the.
I mean, my takeaway from it is like if you go outside and it's hard to fucking breathe.
Yeah.
From one day to the next, and you're like, I could breathe just fine yesterday. What's the fucking difference here?
Oh yeah.
Is it me? And then everybody else like, I can't breathe that well either. So you go back and forth thinking about it, like this ain't right.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know if it was the same concept too, but the closer to the ground you are, the easier it would be to breathe, especially like if you're like a house fire and you're going through a house fire, smoke rises, so it goes to the ceiling, collects there. So the lower you are to the ground, the better air you can collect without choking.
Yeah, because smoke displaces oxygen and pushes it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep. You got that right. Got that right, sir. Uh, Number 4. The CIA funded abstract art to fight communism. During the Cold War, the CIA secretly funded abstract expressionist artists like Jackson Pollock to promote American culture as a weapon against Soviet influence. So, through front organizations, the CIA sponsored art exhibits. Words are hard. The CIA sponsored art exhibitions and galleries and magazines to showcase American freedom and creativity, contrasting it with Soviet realism. This covert operation, part of the cultural Cold War, shaped modern art without most artists knowing they were pawns. That's within CIA fashion. Let's not even lie about it. Do you think this was a good propaganda move or a manipulation of artistic integrity?
in terms of government, it is a good move because during the Cold War, that's what they were there for. It was, they were trying to outmaneuver and win against the Soviets. And they were using a lot of different means to get to that goal, just to win, essentially. And it wasn't just, like you said, art. It was also things like they were doing studies for mentalism, to mental, what was it called? I'm trying to remember what it's called. Basically, they would have people actually train their minds to be able to infiltrate Russian bases and get like a mapping of that place. Now, did they succeed? We'll never know because they never gave the full documents, and most of it's blackened out. Uh, but still, they did everything. Anything you can think of, they tried. They experimented on everything, and so for that standpoint, for the government, it's definitely very very beneficial to use art because it is an influence around the world, especially. You see art everywhere in the world. No matter what culture you go to, what country you go to, you're going to see some form of art, and so that could be heavily influential. So yeah, I would say 100%.
Yeah. Video dork. That's right. They never give the full nothing. Why would they? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because knowledge is power in certain cases. So
Mm-hmm.
you know you got to hold some cards to your chest. Um, how much of what we consider culture is shaped by hidden agendas? Do you think?
Hmm. Hidden genders within culture. I mean, this would go back to even American history, the South, the Deep South, like even where Texas is back then, a little less than 200 years ago, the culture there was very different. A lot of racist KKK members in the such. And it was a big culture back then, and some people probably just thought that was the okay thing to do because that's what they were raised on. Other
I
people,
mean,
after a while, they learned and saw it wasn't the good thing to do. But so
yeah,
I would say, yeah, propaganda and culture can mix.
it's one of those things. That anything that becomes a social norm, everybody sees it as normal, never changes. It takes somebody to stand out and be different for that to
Mm-hmm.
actually take effect.
Yep.
Which is one of those things that I tell everybody is like, don't fucking be like anybody fucking else. Don't be a carbon copy. Don't copy paste the thing. Do your own fucking shit with it across the
Mm-hmm.
board, no matter what.
100%.
What did he say? Well, I feel a lot got formed by hitting things. Okay, Theodore put out there. I feel a lot got formed by hidden things. It's where a lot of blind followings happen. Of course, that's the case, of course, because you gotta look at certain standpoints. Like, look at new religions and things like that keep popping up out of everywhere, and then all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
they get actually verified that the government says you're a real religion. I mean, look at Scientology back in the 2000s. Everybody thought they were just fucking quacks, but now they're actual religion now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
You
mean,
gotta look at it like that.
and you got to wonder, like, what they do, because, I mean, look at Tom Cruise. He's fucking ridiculous. See all the stunts he does himself, all the things he does, his age, and he's still, like, looks really young. So it's interesting with, like, what you kind of wonder what they do. And anytime you actually try to interact with someone that's from Scientology, they instantly just hide from you. Usually religions try to, like, pull you in. They're like the opposite. They're very selective on who they let in. So
Yeah,
they kind of hide from like video cameras, and they kind of very picky on who they let in.
sounds more like a cult. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Okay. Number 5. Japan's Unit 731 conducted horrific human experiments. I don't know if y'all know about World War II, but that's kind of one of my favorite time frames. But yeah, because there was a lot of fucked up shit. A whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of mind games that PSYOP's done on the USS part, Japan's part, Germany's part. And it's fucking interesting how it fucking came to be and how these little small moving pieces went to actually lead to the first push. So, yeah. Japan's Unit 731. During World War II, Japan's Unit 731 performed gruesome experiments on thousands of prisoners, including vivisections without anesthesia and biological weapons testing. So, based in occupied China, Unit 731 subjected captives to torture, including infecting them with plague, cholera, and anthrax, or freezing limbs to study frostbite. Many victims were Chinese civilians, POWs, or those are prisoners of war, for those who don't know, or even children. After the war, the U.S. granted immunity to some 731 leaders in exchange for their data, which was deemed valuable for biological warfare research. So yeah, there's that little tidbit for you. Yes, Video Dork, this is an open discussion. We pick and choose what we pull into this because I have to go back through and edit things out and stuff like that because I convert it to the edited version. So yeah, it's an open discussion. You can talk back and forth. You have tidbits too. Just fucking say them, man. We don't care. Have fun. Enjoy it. So Savage.
Yes, sir.
How could such atrocities go unpunished?
Oh, that's Japan back then was very extreme. I mean, you've seen it in World War II. Everyone knows Pearl Harbor. That's a big major breaking point for us to go back. That's if that didn't happen, we probably wouldn't even went into World War II.
Oh, we wouldn't have at
Essentially,
all.
yeah.
Because back
So
then the U.S. had. I don't want to sound stupid on this one, but back then the U.S. had a fucking spine across the board when it comes to governing their nation across the other nations. So we didn't get ourselves involved in fucking bullshit if we didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
unless we had a true out goal or reason to. Japan swung first. We said, "All right, hold my beer."
Yeah, we said, all right, you want to fight, so we're gonna fight. So yeah, it's. I'm not surprised that Japan did these kind of experiments on people because they're trying to find ways to, win. So in times of war, people do desperate things, and they try to find the quickest route, the most efficient route to just win the war.
Yeah, that's fine and dandy, but usually the quickest route's going to be the messiest and it's going to lead you to fucking have repercussions later on down the road. Down the road,
Oh yeah,
you know. Um, in my opinion, how could these atrocities go unpunished? Like I said, see things from usually from a morally gray area. They needed the data. They knew they wouldn't get it all if they weren't going to let some of them go. So they took the ones that are top of it, specialists in their field, and said, "Cool, you're pardoned. Don't do this again. Give us all your shit right now."
oh yeah.
End of story. So yeah. What does this say about the ethics of wartime science, in your opinion?
Wartime science. Hey, this is it is a historic time frame too for weaponry. World War One, we had very limited like kind of weapons, not a whole lot of full autos. Did full autos exist in World War One? I don't know if they actually
I
did
think
yet, but very limited.
they were limited. They existed. They were limited though, because I
Yeah,
think it was the Mark One. Then it was because I think Gatling guns, things like that, were
yeah,
invented way before then. So they had plenty of time to engineer to be more industrious and making them better. So yeah, they definitely existed. They were exploring on a larger scale, like they were like today or like World War II time frame.
yeah. So during that time frame, it's wartime. You got money coming in and out, scientists building, all different countries focusing on the same thing. So, a lot of stuff is being thrown around and, experiments are being tossed out there. You have Operation Paperclip and is it Manhattan? Yeah, that's Operation Manhattan.
I think so.
With the nuclear
Yeah.
bomb, all that stuff. So at this time, it's a huge experiment of whichever way you can think of: chemical, nuclear, biological stuff. The bigger, the better. That's what they were looking for. So they were thinking, what could I achieve that would be highly efficient in killing and not take so much to do?
Yeah. I get that. I get that. For me, I don't call it fucking bad, but wartime science is a fucking need across the board because it's led to so many, we'll say, miraculous discoveries in medicine
Oh
across the
yeah,
board too. Like how to actually handle gangrene, how to actually, handle frostbite the correct way, things like that. Like with common medicines, you know what I mean? So those are kind of needed. And then too, if it wasn't for somebody experimenting with anthrax, nobody would know how to fucking handle it. You know what I mean? We had LMGs in World War One. Not sure who, but I think Italy. Okay, yeah, they had LMGs back then.
okay,
And Video Dork said most of the automatic fire weapons were mounted.
yeah, they were mounted. Yep, makes sense.
I say it's the biggest reason for the Geneva Convention exists. I mean, honestly, there's just one single country that's the reason why the Geneva Convention exists, and that's fucking Canada. Everybody says they're fucking
Oh,
nice, but
Canada.
they're fucked up when you let them off the leash and actually tell them, "Hey, we need this fucking gone." They'll fucking get it done. What's the casualty report? What casualties? What do you mean, what casualties? Yeah, we got rid of the problem. It's like, but what about the civilians? No, they're all gone. It's like, okay. So yeah, the Geneva Convention was created mainly because of some of the more extreme methods of Canada and everything like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, number 6, your favorite one that you mentioned a couple episodes ago, the dancing plague of 1518 killed dozens. So, in 1518, hundreds of people in Strasbourg, France, danced uncontrollably for weeks, with some dying from exhaustion or heat attacks. Starting with one woman, the dancing plague spread with up to 400 people compulsively dancing in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors at the time thought dancing more would cure it, even hiring musicians to keep it going. Yes. Yes.
More, more. You hear that, Davey? We found your home.
Theories range from mass hysteria to ergo poisoning, a hallucinogenic fungus. All right. What was was this a psychological breakdown or a medical mystery or something else entirely, in your opinion?
I think it was, if I remember correctly, for what I'm going off of is what I read before. It also kind of ties into what I believe too, but it was a mix of things. It was a what is it called? A hallucination, but like on a grand scale.
So you're
Mass
saying
hysteria.
like a shared psychological break across the board, or
Yeah, mass
like
hysteria. Plus, it was also some kind of hallucination. So their food got uh, polluted by mushrooms or fungus. That happened in America actually too, supposedly during the witch trials. Um, but for so that could be a possibility, which is what I think is what happens because it just kept happening. Two people had it, then more, and then people just started dropping dead because they couldn't stop. So I think it was a mix of mass hysteria plus some kind of hallucination thing.
okay, yeah. I find the human brain very interesting across the board, not even just for myself or for how other people react and see things and do things. So it's just like one of those things like, how did all these people end up doing the same fucking thing through a psychological breakdown?
Mm-hmm.
Because usually you lose your senses, you do whatever, and just you're just out there on impulse and guide and just misguided across the board. Nothing can direct you. But
Yeah,
they all started dancing.
yeah. It's like you said, it's very interesting to see how the mind works. Sometimes and it's interesting to see how like what people do after that like kind of situation comes up. Like what? How do the people react to it?
Yeah.
Also,
Because go ahead.
I was gonna say a side tidbit is since I'm a video game nerd, Elden Ring, they have a town in the game that's based off of
Mm-hmm.
this town in real
Oh
life.
Lord.
So that you can literally find a town of just dancing monsters, and if you interact with them, then they'll actually start attacking you. But
Okay.
for the most part, you can just observe them just dancing like crazy people.
That's fucking funny. That's funny. Oh, Lily, I'm aware. I'm aware. Can't turn it up. It's like the sixth person to say it. Just gotta turn the volume up and just listen as well as you can. But yeah. So number 7, people still don't know this, which I don't understand fucking how. The U.S. sold weapons to both sides of the Iran-Iraq war.
Okay.
They did not understand that. But during the Iran-Iraq War, which was 1980 to 1988, the U.S. secretly sold weapons to both Iran and Iraq, prolonging a brutal conflict that killed over a million people. The Reagan administration supported Iraq publicly, but covertly sold arms to Iran via the Iran-Contra affair, using profits to fund Nicaraguan rebels. This double dealing extended the war's devastation, with neither side aware of the U.S.'s full role. How does this reflect on the ethics of geopolitics?
Geopolitics, interesting. Trying to see how to answer this because it's just gonna make more strain on everything around, but they all do it for profit. America was just doing it for profit. Literally, we have a huge war campaign all the time. No matter what president you have, there's going to be a war somewhere somehow. It's going to pop up, and it's always for profit. It's a money making machine. They're never going to give that up.
Oh, 100%. War is one of the most lucrative things that you can do to make money for your country,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're not directly involved with it and you're supplying them.
Yeah.
That's so much money coming in.
Yeah.
That's billions of dollars in one go, and you don't have to worry about, who wins, who doesn't win. Oh, we're not involved with it. They just want our supplies. So
Mm-hmm.
we get to amp up our factories, everything like that. So everybody gets to work again. So it boosts
Yeah.
our economy across the board. And they ship it off. So it boosts our, logistics across the board as well. And then we just sit back and just watch them do whatever the fuck they do and just wait.
Yeah. Yeah. That's said. War profiteer. War
Okay.
Dogs is a good movie on that.
Yeah, War Dogs is a good movie on that because things like that actually fucking happen. It's just one of those things of nobody knows exactly like which one because they use, like I said, front companies, things like that across the board to make sure that nobody gets uh, pointed out or told because there's some big names involved with stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Video Dork brought up a good point. You make enough fear or make yourself sound better than you make profit of the people of your country or others. Yeah.
I mean, that's a known fact across the board. I mean, look at wars across time. When they were doing it for religious purposes. We'll say that because certain religious purposes they did, there was no backing to it. They just said, God told me we need to do this. Didn't make sense to me because like, you got some writing down, buddy, to help me out with this one? But I'm a skeptic. So, I'll ask those questions. That's just me. Are there modern parallels to this kind of backstabbing diplomacy that you know of?
I know of. So two countries that were funding both sides. Oof. I don't. This the closest thing I can think of is Russia and Ukraine, and even then, we're not really making a profit off of that because when it was Joe Biden doing it originally, he was just given the supplies without like an idea of what we're getting in return. It was just like, here, you need these supplies, pay us back when you can, kind of thing. And then, but now with Trump in the office, it's a bit of both sides. We don't know all the ins and outs of it, but what it seems on TV is like he wants to get both sides to sign a peace treaty, but who knows, really? Who knows what's going on behind the closed curtains?
Yeah, that's weird because Putin came here to
Mm-hmm.
the U.S. and talked to Trump. No word said what they were talked about, but neither one seemed angry or upset.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, we're not getting directly involved right now, so we don't got to worry about it. And I know most people think that we should. It's like, but why? Because we're part of the UN. Is that the only reason why,
Mm-hmm.
or is it because it's not right for what these people are doing? Because right and wrong don't mean things in war at all. It's about what you get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, there you look at Ukraine's like, cool, we want these mineral rights.
Oh
Plain
yeah.
and simple. And I forgot who it was, I forgot his name, but he literally was like, I can't do that right now. I was like, you're in a war with Russia and you want our support and you want our, supplies, you want our tanks, you want our drones, you want our,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But you don't want to just give up mineral rights like to help because it's going to help benefit us later on. And so I was like, in my head, I was like, that seems like a no brainer. Save your fucking citizens, give all the supplies you need, and plus might even get us involved with it for your mineral rights.
Yeah.
So, bonehead play on my part. And I would say that one. The Afghan Civil War, 1990s, 2000s. During the first American war in Afghanistan, American taxpayers unknowingly funded both sides of the war. Yep.
Huh. I didn't
Here's the
know that.
thing.
Interesting.
Here's the thing, Theodore. 90% of Americans don't even know what bills that are fucking in the Senate or in Congress at all.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't
true.
keep track of them, even though they are public fucking knowledge. You can all see them and read them. Because I'm pretty sure you were here for my other stint the other day on my stream. You can look at them, you can see it all, see what's getting passed, so you know ahead of time. But most people don't, even though they have this fucking nice nifty fucking thing called a goddamn phone now.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah.
even have to go down to the public library or wait for it to hit the newspapers or anything like that. You literally can go look anytime you fucking want to. And
Especially.
then now they have this fucking fancy thing called fucking AI to fucking summarize it in common layman term for you that everybody uses for every fucking thing else, but
It's
not anything
useful.
beneficial.
It's very useful with that, especially with AI. And a lot of the times, too, people don't know, especially outside their own states. Sometimes they'll know what's going on in their own state, but out of their own, like outside their own states, they usually don't know anything at all. Like currently in Massachusetts, the state is trying to get rid of basically every single gun through like kind of loopholes. So they're trying to infringe on your Second Amendment rights by getting rid of like magazines with a capacity over 10. It's like 10? That's basically everything. And then other things like that and other little loopholes they're trying to get through. Luckily, kind of the people have countersued or sued, I should say, to try to stop that from happening.
Yeah. I think it's funny for that because nobody realizes that there are magazines a little lower than 10.
Hmm. Oh
That
yeah,
there's
there is, but a lot of like rifles here, at least, you don't. It's very rare you're gonna get a magazine and it's gonna be lower than 10.
Yeah, I don't see a purpose for one lower than 10 in the first place for me. And I do like my guns. I enjoy them. So it's just that's why I couldn't be certain places or live in certain places or states because
Oh yeah.
I'm not getting rid of my guns. I refuse.
Yeah, it's one of the stricter states in the country. You got California, here, Massachusetts, and then like New York. And there's a few other places that are just extremely strict.
Yeah, yeah, all those rights and stuff like that. I feel you. I love my guns. Yeah, I do too. Number 8. The Catholic Church sold indulgences to buy salvation. In the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church sold indulgences, allowing people to pay money to reduce their time in purgatory and absolve their sins.
I knew this one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Ages, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So Middle Ages, Dark Ages, time frame. Indulgences were marketed as a way to buy forgiveness, with some clergy promising salvation for cash. This practice, especially rampant in the 15th and 16th centuries, fueled corruption and sparked Martin Luther's Protestant Reformation. Some indulgences were even sold for sins not yet committed.
So could you go to the church, pay them like, hey, I'm gonna murder someone in about a day. You stole my chicken. Can I like give you some gold and not go to hell?
Exactly, man. Or hey, man, I did something wrong, and I don't feel like talking about it. Can I just pay you and you just say all's forgiven, like all Hail Marys and all this other shit, just to let this one slide,
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, just give us 100 gold. And you're like, all right.
Mm-hmm. Wonder if they had layaway program back then like that.
It's crazy, but a lot of churches today still kind of do that, and they don't. It's not like you pay them to forgive your sins, but you pay the church to be there. Essentially, it's like a membership fee, essentially, to be at that specific church. I don't know if my uncle still does that, but in North Carolina, but he did something similar to that degree.
I know the Mormon church, you gotta give a percentage of how much you make a year to the church. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm just like, fuck no, dog.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much is a percentage? And I asked my friend this, like, how much is the percentage? She's like, it just depends how much you make. It's like, okay.
Depends on how much you make.
Let's say, like, I asked, like, if it's like 40,000 a year you make, how much you paying usually? She's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, what if you like on the higher end, like 100,000, something like that? She's like, oh, you probably pay him like 30,000. Like, excuse the fuck out of me.
No, I'm not.
For a fucking church that was based off of this. Absolutely fucking not. No. I don't understand it. Cool. You have your own beliefs. You do the you, but that is fucking horrible, man.
In the Bible, it just says 1/10 of what you make. If you...
That's based on what you make. Yeah, that's fucking yeah. You're not getting that from me, dog. If I work for it, I'm not giving up to a church unless it's a charity event or something like that. And it's damn sure not going to be fucking 1/10 of what I make. It's going to be whatever I choose it.
Yeah,
that's just me,
wild.
Though. Oh my god. How did this shape modern religion, in your opinion?
That, like you said, like we said, basically, it's like if you can just pay your way out of getting to purgatory or hell, then I bet a lot more people were not hesitant and were morally corrupt to do bad things. Murder, like steal, those kind of things. So it's definitely a negative thing for society as a whole.
Yeah, it's in my head, like, is this where tithing came from? Like, tithes. I was raised Southern Baptist, so it was one of those things where they'd have tithes every church, every service. You pass around the tray, everything like that, put your money in it, where you wanted to donate to them, everything like that. I never really learned what they actually went to. Did it really go to the church itself? Did it go to the ones that's in charge? Or does it go somewhere fucking else? Because every church is a little bit different, and I would like to know, because that's why I never did it. Because I kept asking, like, well, don't you want to give this? Like, why? And they asked, like, well, to support the church. Like, but the church is supposed to be here to support us. In retrospect,
yeah,
it's one of those things. So, that's why I was against it across the board. Yeah. Next one, number 9. The U.S. Army poisoned alcohol during the Prohibition.
Okay.
During the Prohibition, 1920 to 1933, the U.S. government deliberately poisoned industrial alcohol to deter illegal drinking, leading to thousands of deaths. Knowing bootleggers use industrial alcohol to make liquor, the government added toxic chemicals like methanol to make it undrinkable. An estimated 10,000 people died from drinking poison alcohol, with many more blinded or sickened. The policy continued despite public outcry.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's one of these things that's just fucking wild. Like, when I was looking this shit up, I was like, is that a fucking thing? And I went and looked it up some more somewhere else. I was like, oh, that's fucking real.
Imagine you're the politicians in the situation. You come up and you're like, you know what, guys? I'm tired of these bootleggers. They're trying to take all the alcohol for free or get it, through the black market, et cetera, et cetera. How are we going to deal with this? And someone's like, we poison them. And you're like, that's a good idea. Let's poison our people. What?
We can just kill them all. Just kill them all in some way.
Excuse me? It's like, no.
But you gotta think, too, back then, politicians were fucking gangsters.
That's true.
They fucking didn't care. They fucking killed. They fucking did everything. True. They didn't let somebody else do their dirty work either. They fucking did everything themselves. and they fucking do not play. Do not play. Nowadays, we got the ones that kiss ass and everything like that to just stay in the office, everything like that. And even though they don't do the fucking work they said they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And back then, it was fucking serious, man. Like nobody fucking fucked with them. They were known, not just because their reputation. They were known to, hey, you fuck with him, you might go missing in the story. So it is what it is. Was this a case of public safety gone wrong or a deliberate attack on the poor?
Attack on the poor, huh? That's interesting. Because they're not getting their profit if they buy it through the black market. So they're like, well, fuck these poor people. Let's kill them all. I'm gonna say it's gonna go the route of people just in general disobeying the law because they're trying to be strict on the law. So they're like, well, people are going behind our backs, so they're all criminals in their eyes. So they're just like, well, we gotta handle it somehow. So they poison the supply, hoping that people will back off. But obviously, people are not gonna back off because they want their alcohol.
Oh, exactly. Let's see here. He said, "Is it gonna show up?" There we go. That's why you can't drink rubbing alcohol still today, so they don't have to worry about people buying 91% for $5 or whatever versus 20 plus. True. I get you. Using your noggin today. Let's see here. My thing is, I don't think it was an attack on the poor because at that time prohibition made sure alcohol was outlawed across the board. Rich, poor, middle class, poor, across the board. Nobody was allowed to fucking drink it or get it because they saw it as a problem. So I think it was just a solution to, they won't keep drinking this if they're getting sick from it, but they overestimate the power of alcohol with humans, especially when they need a fucking de-stressor. They're like, oh, I got sick a little bit, and they're going to think to themselves, maybe it was what I ate.
Yeah, right.
And then they're going to still keep drinking. So yeah. So it's one of those things. And then back then, alcohol wasn't regulated fully anyways. And then there's bootleggers too. So it could have been stronger than anything you can fucking get in the stores anyways, and the bars and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just one of those things to cut it. All right, number 10, Cleopatra tested poisons on prisoners. Cleopatra the seventh, last pharaoh of Egypt, reportedly tested poisons on condemned prisoners to find the most effective and painless way to die. According to ancient sources, Cleopatra was obsessed with finding the perfect poison for suicide in case of defeat. She allegedly forced prisoners to ingest various toxins, words are hard, observing their effects to refine her methods. This led to her eventual use of an asp venom or similar poison to end her life. Yeah. See, back then, nobody wanted to be taken prisoner at all.
No, you're not treated like good as a prisoner. You're tortured, maimed, all the dark things you can think of. Pretty much is what's happening to you.
Oh yeah. It's just one of those things. And then back then, they had more balls than most people nowadays when it comes to like defeat. She's like, you're not taking me alive at all, ever. So, that's one of those things that I feel for them, because I would love to say that, yeah, if I'm going to get defeated, I'll take my own life, but I just don't have that mindset to do that. I don't have the commitment on that standpoint.
No,
I have a lot of commitment, but not if I just lose, I'm not going to end my fucking life over it, because, I'll just deal with the fucking torture and fucking see how this goes. Because then one day I might get fucking released, or one day they might say, you know what, don't need any more, off me themselves. Things like that,
Yeah.
So, no. It is what it is. All right, everybody. It's time of the show where you get to ask us whatever the fuck you want. Anything you want. Just put it in the chat and say what's going on.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't bring up, what was it? I'm trying to remember, 1970s? It was experiments done on American Africans. What was it? I'm trying to remember what disease it was. I'm trying to remember what disease it was, but it was a crazy experiment that went on for a while. Unknowingly, these poor people were, tortured. I'll look it up. A syphilis study. That's what it was. It was syphilis. Right. Okay, so American Black Citizens Experiment, also known as the Tuskegee Experiment, was a notorious study conducted by the United States Public Health Service from 1932 to 72. Wow.
Okay. That's a long-ass fucking time.
I thought it was only 2 years. It involved nearly 400 African-American men from County, Alabama. Well, basically a lot of people in a certain area. And they just wanted to see how syphilis acted on them. Wow.
It's weird. That's
28 participants had died from the syphilis, 100 from related complications of disease passed to 19 children at birth. Wow. The study's termination in 1972 led to the significant public outrage and a $10 million settlement for the surviving participants in their ears. So, yeah. It's very interesting.
question for you.
Mm.
Is your browser source in light mode?
No.
Okay. I saw the flash. I was like,
no. Wait. It kind of was. I was on the what's it called, wiki or whatever.
never trust wiki. Never trust wiki.
Yeah,
You can go in there and edit it.
there's a lot of things, yeah. But I've seen it a lot of times, so I know it's real at least.
So, something about syphilis that most people don't know: if you catch black syphilis and you're in a foreign country and you're a U.S. citizen, you're never allowed to come back.
Really?
Ever.
So I didn't know there was more than one kind of syphilis. Interesting.
Yep.
Black syphilis.
Yep.
Huh.
It was during some of our safety briefs, everything like that. They're like, "Hey, keep your dick to yourself, and try not to screw the locals." We're like, "Why?" He's like, "Some of them have syphilis." They're like, "Oh yeah, no." And then some of the guys are like, "That can get cured." And I looked at them like, there's a thing called black syphilis, right? It's like,
yeah,
what's that? And so I did a fucking PowerPoint for them during one safety brief, and they're like, "What the fuck?" It's like, yeah. And so here's the keynotes. Yeah, you catch it. So yeah, you were never allowed to come back to the U.S. You are stuck where you are.
Here's
So, yeah.
another bizarre. It's a historical, but also cultural thing. Now this is gonna get really weird.
Go for it. I like weird. I love weird.
So it's an African tribe. It's a very warrior-like tribe, and what they do is they believe that when a boy is coming of age, all the men in the tribe take the boy and have sex with him, give him their semen, because they believe that the semen gives them power.
What kind of fucked up fucking ritual is this bullshit?
It's a tribe.
Hell no. Hell no.
It gets crazy.
I'll be a fucking hunter gatherer. I don't gotta be a fucking warrior. I'm good, dog. I'm good on this one.
Oh, you don't have a choice as a kid. It's just that's what they do. And I was like,
lions had me.
I read that and I was like, that can't be real. And I looked it up and I was like, holy crap, it's real. But yeah, it's a tribe in Africa. I don't remember which one it was. I read about it like a year ago, but I remember those details. I was like, wow, that's horrifying.
I'm just taking a hard no, dog. I'm so glad I grew up where I grew up, so I don't have to worry about any of that shit, man. Fuck that. I would not.
Yeah, that makes you like makes you think about how different cultures are around the world.
Yeah,
because to us, obviously, that's very, very weird, very bizarre, and then to them, it's probably like a normal thing.
Theodore has the same vibes as a book. One of the diaries that I used to work with Reed. He said there was like a religion where they believe there's like a penis in the sky. What the fuck? That's God, because I think how rain makes stuff grow on Earth.
On the Earth is like man's
seed. Okay. This guy is not dire. The guy is not diaries. I don't know why it's a diaries.
Yeah, I've read that so before. Basically, he's saying that when it rains, it's because, and then the rain is essentially God's semen to give life on Earth, which technically is kind of true because water is nutrients to the Earth, and then it cycles through the whole Earth and gives essence to everything else. So, we didn't have water on this planet, we'd all be dead. Well, not even existing. So
we wouldn't be here, man. But today it's fucking God's penis. It's fucking wild. Why would you want to think of it like that? Because then you like think about it like we were out in the rain. Like you're just getting jizz all over your fucking self, man. Are you okay with this? Are you actually okay with this?
It's also interesting.
Yeah.
It's also interesting because a lot of the times, yes, the reference to God is through the orientation of he, but it's not exactly he or she. God is supposed to be above that kind of thing. It's supposed to be like a, God. You're not supposed to have one or the other.
So God is crying is better. Sounds way better. I'll take the crying. I'll take the crying over the the skeet factory going off. But no, and yes, we do need help. These aren't even the weirdest ones yet. But yeah, Yeah. Anybody else got anything else?
Yeah, please. If you got any history facts you would like to let us know about, please.
I make you question your sanity
Why?
on the daily. By the way, yeah, I do. Except today. Today I have not been so bad today. I've just been chill. Tomorrow's my last day of the workout program. Then Thursday, I'm still debating on what to do Thursday to celebrate. You told me I couldn't say hi. I did not. Oh, look. First of all, we said hi in 4 messages in a row, and I got fucking tired of it because guess what? I like to have a conversation flow. I said hi. She said hi. I said hi again. She said hi again, and I'm like, we've already said this so many times. What are you doing? That's literally just like, what are you doing? And then left on air. I was like, yep, there we go. I just think she loves to fucking annoy the shit out of me. Eat fried chicken and collard greens. I don't eat that most of the time. I love collard greens though, and I swear to God, if somebody fucking clips that, I'm gonna lose my shit. I love collard greens. Fried chicken's okay. It's not like top tier. It's like fucking low level for me. I know you'd clip it. I know you'd fucking clip it.
Now I want fried chickens and waffles, God.
Fried chicken and waffles isn't so bad.
It's pretty good.
No, if the chicken's actually battered the right way. Yes, there's a way to batter it the wrong way. I found out the other day when I saw somebody in Discord post their fried chicken. I'm not saying any fucking names, so nobody says I'm a goddamn bully this time. So yeah, it's really fried chicken, and it's just one of those things that I looked at it as like, that's fried, and I just laughed at it. And then somebody called me out during streams like, hey, why did you laugh at this? Oh, because this, and I kept going and going and going and going, and they're like, hey, that person's in the stream. Fuck. So yeah. Oh, I just want food. I get that.
Food, yeah.
I literally just ate before we went live. So yeah. Y'all don't have anything else to say? We're gonna close this out. All right, everybody. There was 10 shocking facts about world history that prove truth is often stranger than fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you like the most? You can hit us up on X, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitch, or our Twitch handles, which are always tagged. So yeah, enjoy it. Until then, keep questioning history. Thank you for all your support. We are Drone the Raid Podcast, and have a good night.
Peace.